I'm Lois Lane. I'm a reporter on the Metropolis Daily Planet. And this is my own story.
That was Noelle Neal in the first ever live-action appearance of the DC comic book character Lois Lane. Lois debuted in the same issue of Action Comics #1 with Superman. She's been portrayed as everything from his colleague to his girlfriend to his wife and the mother of his child. Now, DC Comics has a long history of playing with parallel universes, multiple timelines, and there was a Lois Lane in almost every single one of them. So here's our tribute to one of comic books' best known and most revised female characters.
Wait! Who are you?
A friend.
In most iterations, Lois is a driven journalist who tenaciously follows a lead and always gets her story.
Couple of reporters, huh?
Isn't this going a little far just to get a story, Miss Lane?
Well, thanks to you, Superman, we've got it.
But Silver Age DC made some strange choices with her back in the day. Like that time she made out with Superman's corpse. Ew. Or that time she was adopted by leopards and became wild. Or that time she became a black woman for a day. Yup, that happened. DC also has a weird habit of giving Lois superpowers, specifically from Superman, and then taking them away. First, in Action Comics #60, Lois gets hit by a truck, dreams she gets Superman's powers, and then flies around saving Metropolis as Superwoman. Then in issue 69, she becomes the Insect Queen. And we can't forget Ultra Woman from Lois and Clark. Well, actually, maybe we should. What was Terry Hatcher thinking?
Another practical joke.
Then in All-Star Superman, Clark gives Lois a serum that will give her all of his Kryptonian powers and none of the weaknesses for 24 hours. She takes it immediately, because Lois, and she becomes Superwoman for the day.
Does the costume I made for you fit?
Only a little better than my own skin.
Then at the conclusion of the final days of Superman, Earth Prime Superman dies in spectacular bolts of light, no less, one of which hits Lois Lane right in the chest, giving her almost all of his powers. Don't worry, New Earth Superman is still around. Lois trains, she saved lives, she was snarky, she was amazing. And then what does DC do? They kill her off at the end of Superwoman #1, because Lois. Even over on Earth 3, there was a Superwoman Lois, but she was more like Wonder Woman in that she was Amazonian with a golden lasso of submission. Alrighty then. And she was a member of the evil crime syndicate. She was in a relationship with Ultraman, also sleeping with Owlman, and apparently also got with Lex Luthor whenever he was in town. Of course, eventually that version of Earth and the Lois on it are destroyed, because Lois. Speaking of multiverses, let's not forget what happened to her on Earth 2. In one storyline, Lois Lane Kent dies mysteriously at the Daily Planet. But somehow her dad, General Samuel Lane, manages to upload her consciousness into a World Army android that was part of the Red Files project, thus turning Lois Lane into Red Tornado. And in the Crisis on Infinite Earths arc, Lois Lane Kent and Superman escape to a pocket dimension, so they're not wiped out in the event. But somehow the experience made her terminally ill, and she became old and frail in this dimension. After she died, Earth 2's Kal-El brought her to Earth Prime and buried her alongside the original Earth Prime Superman. This is when stuff gets really creepy. After Lois died, the Black Hand finds her body and he resurrects her as a member of the Black Lanterns, aka the Zombie Corps, and sends her off to kill the Kent family. She manages to kidnap Martha, but she's saved when Crypto, the family dog, temporarily separates Lois from the ring. Eventually, Revenant Lois gets it back long enough to give it to her husband and, yep, reanimate Superman. But then the ring, Zombie Cal, and you guessed it, Lois, are destroyed. Well, until Lex takes her DNA and puts it into another android to make Robot Lois. That also isn't the only Lantern Corps Lois was a part of. In fact, over on Earth 9, she turns up as Tangent Green Lantern. Apparently, Lois was an archaeologist and an adventurer who died and had her body dumped into the Atlantic. This lantern didn't carry a ring, rather a green Chinese lantern that had the powers of resurrection within it. And in Nightwing New Order, Lois turns up as a blue lantern, aka the Lanterns of Hope. This story takes place in 2040, where anyone with powers is on government-mandated suppressants. Dick and his Crusaders are actually responsible for all of this and are the ones supers have to deal with if they don't comply, until Dick's son Jake is revealed to have powers, which kind of complicates things. The adult Teen Titans show up to try to save Jake, and guess who is a Titan team member? Lois Lane. And she's sporting a sparkly new Blue Lantern ring and the healing powers that come with it. Lois tries to heal Dick's body as well as his estranged relationship with Starfire. He took her son away from her, so good luck with that. But they give absolutely no backstory as to how Lois became a Blue Lantern here either. But hey, she lives, right? Things get even better during Rebirth when Lois becomes Batman. Well, sort of. In the Black Dawn arc, Lois and Clark's child John has been kidnapped by the Eradicator. Lois isn't powered here, but Mama isn't sitting by waiting for anyone to rescue her baby. Nope. She steals Batman's Hellbat gear and subsequently takes a Batmobile and takes off to find her son and save him, which in the end she actually does. Did I mention that she stole a Batmobile? The most recent incarnation of Lois Lane was in the Imperious Lex story arc, where the Kent family is simply on their way to a movie and is sucked into a time warp that lands them on Apocalypse, Darkseid's homeworld, and yes, home of the New Gods. Separated from John, Lois must find a way to rescue him. Again. This time as an honorary member of the Furies, which is granted to her by Granny Goodness herself. After, of course, she helps take out a Dredgeworm. Check out this armor, though. And we can't forget about Marguerite Sauvage's Bombshells, where Lois was transformed into Latinx paper girl and investigative reporter Eloisa Lane during World War II. She's rescued by the Batgirls, smitten with Supergirl, and later helps the ladies take out Penguin, Killer Frost, and Harvey Dent. There's also a teenage Lois Lane for you too. Gwenda Bond's Lois Lane Fallout series features an army brat Lois, yep, her dad is still a general, that has lived all over the world and seen all kinds of things before moving to Metropolis. There, the story is part Riverdale, part Veronica Mars, as Lois gets to solve mysteries, like an evil bullying crew who somehow mind control their victims and deal with general high school shenanigans, including one really awesome guy that she keeps talking in a chat room with. Get this, the screen name Smallville. So which Lois gets your vote? Superhero, journalist, Evil Dead, Blue Lantern? Don't say the Black Lois or I'll drag you on Twitter myself. Leave your comments below and let us know which is your favorite Lois Lane.